Okay, so I told you guys we're going to a little bit deeper with the combos. You can reach me on systemswithinsystems.com, also YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram, or whatever you guys are connecting with. So, combos. Combos are tricky. People don't understand how they actually work. So we're just going to go through the basics of that at first. Instead of just with the movement and speed. Speed and power become very, very important. But one of the most important things in combos is your footwork. People never think about their footwork and commanding your mat. So that's what I mean by the basics. And as far as using your front kicks or legs in for a real life situation, you have to be commanding your mat. When somebody enters into the range of that mat is when these bad boys come out or when these bad boys come out. So with me, you know, everything deals with Mortal Kombat, facing those situations and getting away from all the Hollywood stuff that's actually coming through, okay? So commanding your mat means, you know, some people do it maybe in a circle, but I do it in a square just like a mat, you know, dealing with your mat. When somebody enters into that mat, and in that range is when the legs come up. And then, of course, in combos, you have a different length with your legs than you do with your hands. And where your knees got to be coming up. Now, in advanced kicking or advanced movement, it really doesn't matter how close the person is to you. You have to change the angle of your leg a little bit, and the kicks should still have the same power when they're coming out with it. And it's not important to kick high. Most of my kicks are going to come from here to here in this range. I'm not really going for the face, maybe underneath or whatnot. My hands are going to work more on the face and the chest area. My cannons are going to work lower end for dealing with weapons, which we'll get into a little bit. Maybe we already have done it where the knee really becomes important. So in a combo, if you're looking at a mat, seeing your mat, you have to understand your range of your mat. A really good way to practice that is by hanging a ball, right? I'm a big proponent on that, we all know. Hanging a tennis ball by the edge of your mat, where you feel your mat is. So in other words, your length of your arms are just hitting it, your legs would come up and just come towards it, whatnot, to kind of give you an idea of where that mat comes in. And also for real life situations, not with just your hands, but with your legs, dealing with weapons. All right? So it's simplicity. You're not going to get into all this crazy action when you're fighting for your life or you're protecting your family, you know, or defending something, defending someone. It's got to be where that comes in. People are coming in with knives, they're coming in this way, wham, wham, wham. They're coming in this way, zoom, 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 zoom. Right? They're coming in with bats, they're swinging it. Mat becomes very, very important. Maybe we'll do some more breakdowns with that. I think, Vic, didn't we do some stuff on weapons a little bit? So you guys could check that out a little bit, but this may give you more groundwork as far as dealing with that and combinations. Combinations are awesome, and they can be done in many different ways. When I used to do a lot of fighting, sometimes combinations just meant a series of punches. I fought some pretty good boxers back in the day that were, you know, good at what they're doing, and they just, the combinations that I would come at them with were just way different. You know, just barreling in there, you know, just going in because it was still combat ready. As far as combat goes, there's no on your mark, get set, go. That's the unsheathed sword, you always go. So if somebody's putting their arms up, somebody has a weapon out at you, somebody is standing in position, that's for you to work with, not for you to go around. So if somebody puts their arms up, I'm going to break those hands. Or somebody has a weapon out, I'm going to go to or beyond the weapon to work it and make sure I don't get cut or stabbed or whatever the weapon may be, whether it's a gun or whatnot. So this really gets you into some really good groundwork as far as how combos work. Combos do not work without footwork and how you're stepping into the person. So if I'm going to take just, say, my mat, my ball is here before I bring Vic out, right? I'm going to be standing from here. My combo is to the edge of my mat. So my arms have to be able to hit to where it's going, right? So that would be where the ball is hanging, right? How the ball, bam, 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 bam. If I'm going back, could I reach that ball differently? You know, so I start to work and get the idea of that. And this footwork becomes important, where I'm stepping with this footwork. So if I'm going here and I step in, I closed up on the mat, bam. If I step back, can I still reach by shifting and coming back out? Yes. And how far is that range going with my combos and making sure that both are hitting with the same amount of power. When you get into chops and moving things out of the way, it's really, really great technique for real life. So we're not talking about ring fighting. We're not talking about doing movies. You know, we're talking about real life, having to deal with when your life is on the line. So anybody who's listening, no matter what area of combat you may be in, if you've ever experienced real life violence, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then just believe what I'm telling you. When somebody wants to murder you or hurt you really bad, it's a big difference. There's a big difference with that person. The person doesn't even have to have that much experience. Could just be coming at you in whatever way that they are, but coming in with violent intent. The whole game changes there. It's no longer fighting in the ring. It's no longer fighting in the movies or doing whatever's going on there. You're fighting in real life now. There's a big difference with that when your life's on the line. Somebody wants to murder you. Right? Big difference. Especially if they're coming at you with violence. And most people haven't really seen violence and understand what that looks like when it's coming at you. With violent intent, murderous intent. So that's the way you kind of want to think to start practicing the kind of techniques that we're dealing with and how to hit and have speed and power and to hit right where you want to hit. You know, that's where the kicks and stuff start designing itself a little bit more, where I talk about the knee coming up. So, on a basic thing, if I'm throwing a combo, 1-2, right? A guy has a knife, I'm not going to be throwing that 1-2 combo because I'm just not going to want to throw something and get stabbed with it. Unless my hitting power is going to be so BAM! Effective, then I'm going to move that weapon. It's always keeping my eyes on the weapon at the same time, right? As your hitting power increases and whatnot, you may be able to get that. But again, it depends on who you stand in front of. Look, man, I've seen one dude get hit in the head with a crowbar, and his eye moved kind of out of his head, and he still kept fighting. Some people just don't want to go down. They seem superhuman, right? Maybe he paid for that later on, his adrenaline or whatever was working, but you got to stand in front of that dude, all right? So that's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of technique, this is what the martial art, as far as the physical part of it, was really designed to do. So all of that other stuff that's going on is great. It's great, it's slices of the pie, but the whole pie is different. So basic combos is understanding your footwork and understanding your length to the mat. And then the core work and developing more speed and power with it, which are on all the different videos that we put out there and piecing it together. On the Patreon and stuff, I go into deeper with that and getting more into that combo stuff. All right, so the next segment that we're going to do is discussing that, and I'll bring Vic out for that in a little bit to refine what we're talking about. Thanks for watching.